Welcome to STAX by Investor Central Club. This is Eric here, and I'm going to help navigate you guys through a couple of instructions in terms of how to use our STAX software. Put investorcentralclub.com into your browser. If you're on Windows or Mac, there will be a install app button up here. So if you log in, what you'll have right here is you'll quickly notice that the STAX symbol will show up on the top. If you are on a mobile app, what you will see is the menu bar, and on the left side, STAX will be the very bottom one for you to click. In order to help simplify the usage of our STAX software, we have time constraints where you can show just the prints for today and for the week. We also have different options, filters for ETFs, big money, unusual options, and our STAX AI selected prints. Important categories will be shown across here. Your date, your time, the ticker, whether it's a call or a put, the expiration date of that option, the strike that was purchased, the premium or the amount spent on it, and our emoji algorithm signals, which I will go over and explain in just a moment. There's also the expected move and also details of that purchase, the spot price in which that equity was at when the option was purchased, the volume, which is shown in the details, and the type of purchase that there are. Now, if you are to go through here, for example, big money will help filter all of your premiums to show all the ones that are over $1 million. Without it checked off, though, you can still quickly notice your premiums, your big money premiums, which will show up in with this symbol, and also a golden bar will show up in order to signify that thing over $1 million. In terms of unusual options, which is a part of our algorithm, where large expected moves are considered here. So what you'll notice is many of these moves are over at least 10 percentage points, if not more. In the combination where you do have the large expected move along with large premiums, you will see that these bars have a little bit different of a color to them. But unusual options will be in blue, big money in gold. Last but not least, we have our STAX AI algorithm, which generally these are unusual options with large amounts of premium, also large expected moves alerted by our STAX AI. As these prints do expire, keep in mind that they are removed from our algorithm, removed from these data tables. So all the ones that you see are still ones that potentially are still active. Keep in mind, though, that we do not know when these options trades are closed. So that is up to you to determine. In addition, what you can also do, for example, if I wanted to see all the Microsoft prints that are still active right now, you can use the search bar. And what also will help us out here is there is a put call ratio. What this does is it helps us get an idea of the sentiment of the markets, whether calls or puts overall are being taken out on this ticker. In addition, it will filter out all the equity blocks, all the actual equity purchases, and all of our options purchases as well. If you just want those prints for today or say for the week, you can go ahead and check those off. For example, today's Monday, so this will only show us these, Monday prints. Let's go into and talk a little bit about our signals. What we have here is our quick reference sheet for STAX, where the emojis are being explained in terms of what they represent in our emoji flow. Now, these signals are categorized in 3 different ways. What we have here, we have time constraints, the moneyness of the option, and the premium spent. Now, of course, we can check off certain things in our STAX software where we can check off our big money. We can also check out our daily and weekly options as well. Now, with the inherent nature of options, there's a certain amount of risk involved in all of these options purchases. And they're categorized up here with our warning signs as well. The least amount of risk in options generally come with longer-term situations, longer-term prints, along with being in the money. Our medium risk will be at the money, and our fairly high-risk situations generally are short-term, out of the money, and large premium prints. And in terms of options, the highest risk that can actually be taken would be 0 days to expiration, and FAR targets, which are extreme versions of out of the money. In addition, STAX, our AI, will alert when specific combinations of these risk profiles do show up. So when time, moneyness, and premium are combined in a very risky manner, what you will find is this interesting flow emoji will show up in order for us to signify that these are our STAX AI alerted prints. Now, do keep in mind there's never a guarantee with the returns of any options. However, these do give us a little hint into large institutional traders are looking at. We like to say there's always somebody that knows what might be happening. For these higher risk options trades, we've categorized them into four different possibilities. The maximum type of risk you can take will be short term, far out of the money, and millions of dollars of premium, which is why it gets our interesting flow symbol. In the case that we don't have it out of the money, but in the money, but also still short term with large amounts of premium, that type of interesting flow shows that there's a high possibility of them exercising these options, but still expecting some sort of fair return in those trades. In terms of longer time frames, long-term leverage and gradual growth are still very high risk situations, but therefore have a bit less risk in terms of their time constraints. In terms of options, once an option expires out of the money, it does become worthless. And so we do keep in mind that when they do purchase more time and are willing to spend more of their premium on the theta or the time, therefore it does give us a possibility of long-term leverage or gradual growth and the option of exercising these options in the future. Keep in mind, you can go and double check the big money and unusual. These are situations that tend to end up under our STAX AI alerts, but not always. And look to see what stands out in terms of these tickers and these trades. If I were to just go under our STAX AI, what I wanted to point out is that anytime we have an expired option, it will actually be removed from this data table. So everything you see here are potentially active trades. One thing that I also want to point out, all of these columns can actually be pinned, can also be added or taken away as well. So for example, here you may notice that our volume is actually within the details. So if I want to save myself some real estate up here, I can go ahead and take off my volume, etc. Another thing you can also do is you can move these around if you'd like for ease of use. All of it's customizable up here. Another thing too, if you notice on the blocks, any of our big money prints in terms of equity is given a threshold of $200 million. So I know over here, big money says show everything over a million. Under the blocks or equity blocks here, anything over 200 million will actually be highlighted in gold. Now, keep in mind, the markets move according to the money that's being put in and taken out as well. So, for example, seeing 200, almost $300 million being put into IWM, which is considered the small cap stocks in the US, that gives a pretty significant amount of push in terms of money inflowing into the equity. Just because these tickers are called out does not necessarily mean that they will immediately or even end up being profitable. A strict risk management strategy is still important for you to, maintain your profits and maintain your risk profile. Currently, as of December 1st, what we've noticed is we have about 20 out of 22 of these prints turned into winners. Few of them have retraced back a bit since. However, that's about a 90% win rate. And if you were to take away the other two, that's around 80 to 90%. These tickers that you see, just because they show up does not mean that you should immediately jump into them. Make sure that you still have your technical analysis. Make sure that you still have your charts taken care of so that when these do show up, you can quickly get into them in real time. In addition, many of these, when we get close to earnings seasons and close to, potential news being released, you may see some more unusualness. For just today, December 1st, one thing that our traders quickly noticed this morning were these SPY calls that came in at right about open. And if I were to actually check off ETFs to show that as well, The spy calls that came in 6:33, all the way through almost 9 o'clock. Keep in mind I'm on Pacific Standard Time here. And with them being right out of the money, but big money prints. What out of the money generally means is that these options are not going to be worth anything at expiration. And so the shorter time frames that they purchase actually signify that they may be expecting this move to come quite quickly. The SPY calls here that we see for 459 strike and for the expiration of next Friday, they took out almost $3 million worth total. And quickly, what I want to show you here, and quickly what you may have noticed is it was around down here, $1.50 per option, quickly went up, and at the highs were worth $3.42. It closed at about $3, and that's exactly a 100% return. If you were able to catch this print in the morning, noticed how many were being bought, that would have helped you potentially get into this trade. In addition, I wanted to show this one here, LVS, which is the Las Vegas Sands. Over the course of the last few days, actually, at the end of November, and if you may notice, all of these are simply calls being taken out for later on in December. The strike being around the $45 to $50 range when the price of the stock is sitting around that $45. Our calls and puts also show that there's a very significant bias toward the premiums, toward the calls side. Only a few 100,000 worth of puts and millions of dollars of calls. What ended up happening? Well, the Dallas Mavericks owner, Mark Cuban, has sold a part of his share and his majority stake actually to the owner of the Las Vegas Sands. And there's a lot of rumors right now about how they're potentially opening up a new casino and additional partnerships to create more business. And if I were to go back into Webull and take a look at Las Vegas Sands, over the course of the last few, right, the 28th, 29th, right, 30th, that's when a lot of these purchases were being taken out around the $45 mark, and now we're much, starting to go higher. Keep in mind, they still have some time on this, so we're going to monitor this to see where that goes in the future. If you've got questions on how to use our app interface, if you have suggestions on things that you would like to see improved, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're very happy to converse and to hear what you have to say. In terms of strategies, we'll continue to let you guys know and continue to educate you guys as best as we can on how to use our software in order to benefit and to profit. With that being said, happy trading. We'll see you guys again soon.